Everyone loves lists, so let me list for you my top 15 anime. Films excluded to make things a bit more interesting. Why top 15? Well, I like to go 5 steps beyond. Picking the anime out for this list was pretty difficult as my scores tend to fluctuate quite a bit, and choosing an order for them is like picking which one of my children I love the most. But I'm gonna do it anyways because it's entertaining. Some quick honorable mentions to the following shows: Chihaya Furu, Akatsuki no Yona, Spice and Wolf, Space Brothers, Hibike Euphonium, Hyoka, and Gekkan Shoujo Nozaki-kun. Now, let's get to the list. Number 15. Log Horizon. Log Horizon holds a special place in my heart. Back around early 2014, I was starting to get a bit interested in anime, after being exposed to it earlier via my older sister's weeb phase. At the time I had been watching One Piece, but one fateful day a friend of mine sent me a message telling me to go watch a series called Log Horizon. And that was when I discovered that anime was more than One Piece and Sailor Moon, that it could be contemplative and philosophical, and that there were so many different styles and types of stories being told in this medium. I loved the cast, the bombastic soundtrack, and its excellently crafted world. It is genuinely interesting and amplified by massive payoffs throughout that make for an exciting and engaging viewing experience. I couldn't think of a better way to bring me into the wide world of anime. Number 14. Shirobako. Wow, what a surprise! An artist likes a show about artists. Shirobako's presentation of the field of animation is bleeding with so much love for the craft that you can't help but be pulled in, and the more I read, the more I find out about clever little touches here and there that just make it even better. Not only do I get a window into the wide world of animation, something I personally am deeply interested in, but it also presents a wide cast of unique, compelling characters. They're brought together by this unified love, but they all have their own sense of individuality, their own struggles and own personal goals. It builds the relationships of the characters on strong foundation, such that every emotional payoff hits like a truck. Number 13. The Eccentric Family. An adequately eccentric cast of characters with upbeat presentation and a fascinatingly strange story, following this family of transforming Tanuki through the lens of our mischievous main character is a non-stop delight. The writing's impeccable, filled to the brim with wit, but also able to give great levels of nuance to the characters. It presents interesting philosophical questions through its insanity, and creates a cast of characters that are all fascinating for their contrasting ideals and personalities, all understandably a product of their upbringing and surroundings. Even the most evil of characters have their reasons, and also possess that irresistible charm that oozes through the whole show. Number 12. New Game. A smile so wide from start to finish that my cheeks hurt by the end of it. It's hard to articulate just how much I love it, but I already made a proper attempt earlier, so if you want that, you should check out my video on the show's character designs. Just looking at a single screen cap from this show, just thinking about the show brings an unmatchable joy to me. It encapsulates everything I could possibly want from a show of this genre. A perfect, charming aesthetic, delightfully animated with an adorable and compelling cast. It's not trying to be a heady drama, but it does present enough with the cast for them to feel like more than just basic archetypes, and their visual realization is really what brings them to life for me. Every second is pure joy. I can't think of a single other series that so completely captures the feeling of complete and unabashed happiness. Number 11. Usagi Drop. I'll admit, I'm a sucker for a good family story. The idea of found family in particular is one I find really appealing, and Usagi Drop delivers on this with masterful presentation. Its soundtrack at first listen sounds simple, yet effectively conveys powerful emotions. It bears an immense level of thought and care behind it, a rich, unseen complexity. and I think that accurately reflects the series as a whole. Moment to moment, it captures that beautiful simplicity, a warm atmosphere as we take in this heartwarming story of father and daughter. But under deeper scrutiny, it not only holds up, but gets even better. The pacing of the direction, the way each offhanded line ties into their development and the theming, everything fits together brilliantly. Number 10. Clannad After Story. Since they are literally one story, I think it's fair to have them as a package deal. As one of the most widely loved and acclaimed anime I can think of, I'm sure you might be tired of hearing about it, but what can I say? It's more than moving, it's funny, it has characters I care about, it has a relationship that progresses, a relationship that feels natural. Seeing the way we are changed and shaped through our relationships with other people is really interesting, and there's so much more I could get into. But that would be its own video, wouldn't it? Number 9. Hanasaku Iroha. I don't think I will ever find another character quite like Ohana. She perfectly captures the storm of emotions at the peak of adolescence, and was exactly what my younger self needed when he watched it. Watching her coming-of-age tale helped me through my personal journey. She was a companion and an inspiration. Ohana's irresistibly persistent, charming, and energetic, but not without her flaws. Ignorance and directionlessness haunt her. Her search for her own path into the future is what defines the overarching narrative and makes it such a compelling tale. She's impeccably designed, visually and narratively, and the show centers on her story while also presenting a range of side characters that also get their own fair share of emotional development. Number 8. The Melancholy and Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Look, one way or another, something Haruhi was gonna be on this list, and like with Clannad, it feels like one continuous story to me anyways. That said, Haruhi barely even feels like a story to me. There's no other cast of characters that I could say feel so completely and utterly real, for how completely unreal the story itself is. It's really funny, yet by the end will have you feeling emotions far beyond what you would have ever expected. It's creative, charismatic, and absolutely unforgettable. Number 7. Serial Experiments Lain. To put it in one word, this show is aesthetic. The sense of atmosphere is tangible, thanks to an amazing unification of fantastic sound design and soundtrack, its trippy, mysterious story, and impeccable visual direction. It pulls you in a way that you can never quite feel comfortable, but can't possibly look away. Lain's got the uncontested claim to my favorite character design of all time, a surprise I'm sure considering my avatar. And overall, it captures a particular character that's a perfect symbiosis of weird and cool. It captures the I could look at this forever of New Game with an added level of philosophical intrigue on a connected world and one's own sense of self that's worth years of contemplation. Number 6. Gurren Lagann. What series will get your blood pumping like Gurren Lagann? Appealing on a contemplative and experiential level, it's energetic and emotionally compelling, and at every turn raises the bar for itself and then proceeds to meet it and go even further beyond. Its narrative has twists and turns that had me gripped onto every second. It's visually beautiful and exciting, with a masterful payoff that delivers on everything you could have asked for after such a long roller coaster ride. It had me shouting, it had me smiling, and it definitely had me crying. Number 5. Space Patrol Luluko. Essentially everything I said about Gurren Lagann, but aided by the fact that its adorable aesthetic is absolutely delightful, and its exploration of the value of the unimportant, its unabashed embrace of a childlike mindset, is one I find particularly interesting and meaningful. It conveys such a genuine passion and positivity that I can't help but feel reinvigorated by watching it. Perfectly structured and entertaining by the second, and inspiring by the end, I love every minute of it. Number 4. Girls Last Tour. I love the rustic settings of a world where humanity has run its course and nature's making its gradual return. The beauty to that ruin, and Girls Last Tour provides that in spades, paired with a powerful score that excellently brings out that sense of haunting beauty. The series presents these musings on concepts often reserved for deep, wordy discussions, religion and society, meaning and life itself. But Girls Last Tour approaches it all with a fascinating simplicity. The two central characters naturally bring up these thoughts that arise out of their situation and what they find around them, and by way of such it can comment on them without devolving into an uncharacteristic monologue, or giving any sense of putting on airs. It presents a touching perspective on finding meaning in life, one that helps shape the way I myself approach it. Number 3. Tatami Galaxy. Now, if we want to talk about a perfect ending, Tatami Galaxy is my go-to. The story is so well constructed, quite literally every scene matters, bears a relevance to the core theme and ultimate payoff, and the conclusion somehow manages to tie up every thread in a way so satisfying I couldn't wipe the smug grin off my face. It recontextualizes previous events, completes character arcs, and pulls everything together, putting it all in perspective in a way that I can't help but go, man, that was so darn clever. The whole cast is lovably goofy, its visual style and fast-paced presentation memorable and immensely entertaining. Lest I forget Michiru Oshima's impeccable score for the show too. Its message is a meaningful one, and while it's often easy to enjoy a strong theme but set it aside mentally, Tatami Galaxy delivers it so effectively, so strongly that I think it's hard to walk away without understanding it to a degree that makes you want to actually make genuine changes in your approach to life. Number 2. Silver Spoon. I love both seasons, but the second one is what made me know it was an all-time favorite. I think it's pretty apparent that I love coming-of-age stories, and it doesn't get much better than this one. It kind of encapsulates every element I could possibly ask for. Again, there's this aspect of perspective shaped by relationships found, a discovery of self and one's own direction into the future, as well as this great sense of community. This is one of those series that you can look back to the beginning and find yourself astonished by just how much the cast has changed and developed, especially so with our main character Hachiken. It hits you with some immensely powerful emotional gut punches, endearing you to the cast through lively day-to-day activities, but there's always something deeper under the surface, offhanded interactions shaped by inner conflicts. Pair that with the fact that the show develops my all-time favorite romance without it even being the central element, and I can't help but sing its praises. Granted, it is in some ways fairly moving manga-esque, but every other aspect appeals to me so deeply that it's hard to think of something else as emotionally compelling. But I can think of one show, at least. Number 1. Haibane Renmei. Do you have a show that appeals so strongly to you, so specifically to you, that it almost feels like it was made for you? That is Haibane Renmei to me. A mysterious, beautiful rustic setting that pulls me in immediately. We see a touching story of self-understanding, self-forgiveness. It's not something you walk away from without a second thought. It demands further contemplation. Its tonal balance of hopeful positivity in the macabre is matched visually and audibly, a mix that I find so immensely fascinating. The soundtrack brilliantly realizes the world and the visceral emotions. The characters and the relationships excellent vehicles for the show's themes. Haibane Renmei bears the current honor of being the only thing that has ever made me cry tears of joy. And I think that speaks to how strong and well executed its message is. There's just so much to it. It holds up brilliantly on all fronts, be it from an intellectual, experiential, or emotional level. I've never connected with anything more, and that's why Haibane Renmei is my favorite anime of all time.